Fulfill your destiny and subscribe to the Geek Academy. Leave a like and comment.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Geek Academy. I am here with my good friend Matt. My name's Tony, and let's get this started right away.
Yeah.
Let's start off with introductions. Matt, why don't you start first?
What's up, guys? My name is Matt Rivera. I am hailing from North Jersey, as is my compadre Tony. I am of Puerto Rican descent. Shout out to my Latinos. One time for the one time. I am a musician. I play keys. I play guitar. I sing. I'm a worship leader at my church. I love the Lord. Shout out to my Christians out here. Boom, boom. I am a huge nerd. I am a huge nerd. I love Star Wars and all things Marvel, DC, you name it. I am your guy to have a conversation with about that. And I am a new podcaster too, so that's something else to add to the list. What about you, Tony?
Hey guys, my name is Tony Felber. I grew up in the same town as my
Yes, you
friend
did.
Matt here. We were both born in northern New Jersey, and we still live here to this day. Things about me, I am also a pretty big nerd, mostly just for Star Wars. I could probably tell you any Star Wars reference that you can bring up at any moment. I just think the series is amazing. I think it's the best movie series of all time. And for me right now, I'm out of work because of the quarantine, and yeah, we're trying to start something new, something different.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get this started with something a little more simple. Let's start about our school life bring up. So how about you start first in this one as well?
Well, I went to the same school as Tony here. It was kind of like a really interesting upbringing in middle school. It was very cliquish middle school.
Mm-hmm.
But it was we live in a small town. We still live in a small town. Everybody knows each other, but everyone's like very closed off. But me, Tony, and we were just a part of this very like Goonies, like ragtag group of misfits, and we all were just like we just all mashed together to make this like really cool group of kids, and we're friends to this day. We've been friends since middle school. I bet some of our friends will be on this podcast in the future, but as for right now, they will be a mystery. So stay tuned to meet our friends.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up for me as well. We ended up going to different high schools, but we did go to the same middle schools, and I basically lost all my friends from high school. Maybe I kept like a few of them, but mostly people who I hang out with now are people that I know from middle school. It's easier because we live all in the same small town together. Not many of us have actually left to go far for college yet. So yeah, right now we're all basically starting off with college, trying to adjust to that whole thing,
Yeah.
and yeah, especially through this whole quarantine thing. I've definitely got even more into Star Wars than I previously could have thought was
Yeah.
possible. And yeah, I just thought it was a pretty cool idea to kind of start maybe like a little community type thing where we could all sit down, discuss stuff together. You know, may not have to be about Star Wars, could be about Marvel, like Matt said he likes a lot. Could be about general stuff, could be about current news, whatever. Just start off with a nice little community for the first couple episodes and see what we can get going.
Yeah, man. Let's dive into some current events in the geek culture right now.
Okay.
For my DC fans, I don't know how much of a DC fan you are, Tony. I don't know if you're.
Not really as much.
So, for my DC fans out there, if you're into Justice League, which I know everybody hated that movie, I liked it. I don't know why everybody hated it. But anyway, on topic, Zack Snyder, the director of the film, is officially releasing his director's cut of the film, which is like coveted, like iconic legend in the DC film industry. And it's releasing in 2021 on HBO Max streaming, and people are freaking out right now. It's like all over my feed. Like every other post is Zack Snyder, this cut, that cut. But yeah, that's just pretty crazy. Like I know I've been wanting that to come out for a while. I don't know about you, Tony. Did you even see the movie?
No, I have not.
He did not see the movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Justice League?
I've mainly just been, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so that's really what I was waiting for. So
Buddy,
what
you're
I'm looking
about
more
3
forward
years too
to is
late.
I'm looking forward to I'm watching through the Clone Wars right now. I never finished it completely, so I'm watching through it to the end right now. But I'm looking really forward to the second season of The Mandalorian. That was an amazing first season. I don't know if they're gonna be able to top it, but just the way they ended it with the Darksaber, oh my god! Like that was crazy. Like it opens up so many questions, and I'm seeing what Disney is gonna end up doing with the future of Star Wars now that the Skywalker series is finished. I mean, they worked together with EA to make a very good game in a Jedi Fallen Order. I know, Matt, you have not played that yet, but that is probably one of the best games that I've ever played. It's like on the same tier as Spider-Man PS4, and everyone knows how good that game was. Yeah, so I'm really excited about like what they're going to be coming out in the future in terms of that. Yeah. Oh, and also the Obi-Wan Skywalker. I'm so stupid. Obi-Wan Kenobi show they're putting out. I think they mentioned something about a series coming out just about Obi-Wan Kenobi between the events of episode 3 and 4. So I'm really interested to see what that's about.
That is factual. Actually, Ewan McGregor, the guy that plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is amazing. Hello there. The best freaking dude.
Hello there.
Hello there. Anyway, General Kenobi. So, Ewan McGregor has, for years, ever since the Lucasfilm Disney merger, has been saying, "Oh, I'll wait. I'm waiting for them to call me. I don't know." And he's been kind of like, "Oh, no one's talked to me about it, but I would be so down to do it." And for years and years, we're like, "Okay, so why hasn't it happened yet?" And I think it was late last year that they finally said, "We're doing this." And my socks flew off, and I was just running through my house like, "Oh my gosh, they're doing it!" And yeah, that was me.
Your socks flew off, huh?
They did flap. I don't know, man. I can't speak English. Podcasting is a new endeavor for me, and I'll get better with time, guys. I promise.
Yeah, we all know that, but we're not starting anything crazy. Just start to build any community that we can. But yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I think Obi-Wan is my favorite Jedi. Out of all Jedis that have been introduced, at least throughout the canon story. I know there's there's the comics and all that stuff, but in terms of canon Star Wars, either him or Qui-Gon Jinn. Probably him though. Those are my two favorites right now.
Yeah.
I know your favorite is Anakin, right?
Oops, just dropped my phone. It depends. I don't know how unpopular I am on this, and I know Hayden Christensen gets so much hate on his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker, but personally, I have always loved him as an Anakin Skywalker, especially in Episode 3. Like, I've just always just drawn to Anakin. I thought he's great, but I think that was more of a younger me, and as I look on now, looking at Ewan McGregor's portrayal as Obi-Wan Kenobi, that was just, oh my gosh, groundbreaking. He's funny. He's such a believable, as a younger version of Alec Guinness, like throughout the whole prequel trilogy, and I thought he did a phenomenal job as Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and honestly, I gotta agree with you there. I did like Anakin in the prequels. I know a lot of people hate on the prequels because of various reasons. Probably the main one being Jar Jar Binks, but we're not gonna get too far into that.
Let's not do things for. I hate that friggin' thing. Jar Jar is just.
Yo, I'm watching the Clone Wars right now, and I'm just so mad that he's in some of the episodes. I'm like, it just makes me not want to watch it. But
actually,
it's like,
what about this? # Darth Jar Jar. Jar
that
Jar
was
is
ridiculous.
Actually, just being stupid and idiotic and ruining things on purpose to further. No, it's a stupid theory because when you think about it, the rule of two just like makes it like no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
I'm just geeking
I'm
out
gonna get
right
back
now.
to the point I was saying before. I agree with you that
Go
Anakin
for
played
it.
a really good Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen rather, not Anakin,
Yeah.
but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. I think that he played it really well because a lot of people didn't like his performance in Episode 2 because he was kind of weird, like stalkerish, especially towards Padme, and I know that's
Very much so.
it was very weird, but at the same exact time, you also got to remember, like, try to put yourself in his shoes. He was found at what,
Yeah,
7
man.
years old? Like, he grew up basically his entire childhood as a slave and without a father.
Exactly.
Like, who was there to teach him from wrong and right, especially when dealing with women? Like, he didn't know any better. So, like, even if you
Sorry,
could,
milady.
even if you could chalk it up to bad acting, I don't care. The bad acting was so bad that it ended up being good if you just paid attention to the storyline.
Yeah.
And Episode 3 by far is my favorite Star Wars episode. It's like the way he was just manipulated into the dark side
I'd
was
have to
crazy.
agree. Yeah.
I think it was an amazing movie. I really like that in like Order 66 and everything like that. Just like I
Beautiful
still like the song they played when it happened. Like still, it just gives me goosebumps almost every time I hear it. It's just such a powerful
John Williams
scene.
is John Williams is just John Williams, and he is the most amazing composer of all time.
I have to agree with you on that one. He like every single Star Wars music that has ever been made has been memorable somewhat. Like even in the new Star Wars
of him.
movies, they're probably the
Race
worst trilogy of the set, but I remember all the music that gets played. There's like a specific music that comes out whenever Rey is shown on screen, you know, things like that. And I remember it. And like when I hear it somewhere else, it just puts me back in the feeling of when I first saw it. And that's something that's just amazing and that not a lot of other movies can do for you. Just like those
true,
little
man.
Star Wars, like Star Wars as a mass production was extremely successful in my opinion. I think that it literally could not have gone better. Like I said, I know that people don't like the prequels and the newer movies, but in all honesty, I love every single movie in its own way, except for Rogue One. Rogue One was trash.
Yes, except for Darth Vader. Darth Vader was awesome.
Darth Vader was awesome in Rogue One, but that's the only scene that was good. Every other scene was terrible.
Anyway, I have a new topic that I heard of recently. I don't know if anybody else has heard it. It's not like huge, like confirmed news, but The Mandalorian season 2 might have Ahsoka Tano, played by actress Rosario Dawson, in season 2. And
Ooh, that could
I
be
think
good.
Yeah.
That could be really good.
Yeah, Mandalorian like has been like such a great piece of Star Wars content, and on top of that, their choices in casting is perfect. Like, I don't know, this is huge news that I found out last week. So,
I would just love to see Ahsoka be
let me see the
presented
guy. I don't
in
wanna
a
butcher the guy's
non-cartoon
name.
form.
yeah. Check this out. You're about to freak out. Okay. I am gonna try my best not to butcher this name. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. It's hard to pronounce.
Let's do it, man.
Temuera Morrison. I think, yeah.
That's the actress?
I just didn't want to violate. I hope I said his name right. I don't know why I was having such a terrible time.
Wait, never mind. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the guy that plays Jango Fett is gonna reprise his role as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian.
Wow,
and
that could be really
couldn't be
cool.
more excited. Well, yeah, he well in the special edition, redos of the original trilogy. Temuera Morrison, he did voiceovers for Boba Fett. So the original guy that voiced Boba Fett, boom, out of the picture, and then this is what we have now. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Do you know that the kid who played Boba Fett in the prequels actually liked a comment I made on Instagram?
Really?
Yeah, it was like a couple months ago. They put like the Star Wars page posted some sort of like
Daniel
blueprints to
Logan?
like Boba Fett's like Boba Fett's suit or whatever, and I commented like, "Yo, this is dope. This is pretty cool." And then he liked
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, "Oh shoot, like that's actually like the kid."
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, nah, but going back to like kind of like starting talking about the Mandalorian and everything like that, I think in my opinion, when you get into Star Wars and it does not involve the Skywalker saga, it is very difficult to replicate the same feeling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The feeling that you get from watching Star Wars,
Well,
especially
anything
through the
without
Skywalker saga.
Lucas, to be honest, anything without George Lucas is kind of falls short, in my opinion.
I can
Like,
understand
people
where you're coming
complain
from.
so much about the prequels and like how they suck. Oh, it's not
Mhm.
as good as the original trilogy. It's not the same. I don't like it. Just shut up. Like my opinion is a mediocre Star Wars movie that is enjoyable and is not like as good as the original trilogy. It may be not the best thing, but it's better than not having a Star Wars movie at all.
I
don't know
agree.
if you could agree with me on that. So
I think
I
I think that every Star Wars movie ever made did its job in the place in
Yeah.
the series.
exactly. Like Rogue One. Rogue One was hot garbage.
I hated
But
it.
it had
I really
its
did.
moments, and it was a nicely like. The cinematography in the movie was excellent. But,
Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful movie.
yeah.
Just I did not like the storyline. I liked the implementation of like Saw Gerrera and stuff like that, especially when they added him
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order. I think that was a really cool mix into things.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't understand how, like, see, my opinion is, I think the new the sequel trilogy was
Mhm.
very it wasn't made with heart. I think it was made with greed. It was made with the intention of let's get money out of this property, and not really like. And I think they tried too hard for fan service, rather than originality. Like,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think a lot of people didn't like Last Jedi because it was so different from the tone of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Like, I didn't think like. Here's my opinion. Before you
before you start, I just want to say this. This may be a hot take, but in my personal opinion, out of the last two movies that were made, The Last Jedi was my favorite one.
Oof.
It was my favorite one.
Oh.
I think that it did its job perfectly. I honestly think so. The implementation of how you could see Rey struggling with the dark side and the light side, and then you could see something even with Kylo Ren struggling with the dark side or the light side. We didn't see that. We did not see that in the original trilogy or the
Yeah.
prequels of a bad guy struggling with the good side of the Force. I thought the
was
way that they did that
interesting.
was amazing.
Yeah, I think the way J.J. Abrams like finished that arc and Rise was really good. But back to
Yeah.
what I was saying. My complaints with The Last Jedi are that the way they handled Luke Skywalker was wrong. They could have had him. They could have used a bunch of other ideas as to why he's on that island. Like maybe he's hiding, like maybe he has a holocron, or maybe he has this or that. That's like a solid reason for him to actually leave, rather than, oh, I feel bad for my nephew turning to the dark side. I think like it was kind of a waste of a character. I think they really, really wasted Luke Skywalker in that trilogy, because George Lucas' original idea was to have Luke be an integral part and more as an Obi-Wan character. You could see interviews in the past, like going way before this even the prequel trilogy happened. There was an interview with Mark Hamill where he was like, "Oh, George has come up to me with like ideas of me being a Ben Kenobi type character as Luke Skywalker," and he was down for it. And even like when you see Mark Hamill really hated The Last Jedi, and he would like any interview you see, he's complaining about how Ryan doesn't understand Star Wars, and he kind of doesn't. He didn't make a terrible film, but he didn't make a good Star Wars movie, in my opinion.
I see where you're coming from, but I really do think that it makes sense for Luke to do what he did. There was a lot of stuff he missed. Don't get me wrong, Luke, one of the best Jedi ever. Don't get me wrong on that. But having said that, you got to remember he was a lot older when he really possessed the knowledge of what the Force was and what it means. Yoda taught him, and Yoda's the greatest Jedi master ever. But at the same time, you got to remember, like, these younglings, when they come in, like obviously prequel times and everything like that, like when they come in, they're taught from birth how things work, how to accept failure and use obstacles as your way up. That may not have been a part of what Yoda was teaching him. And if you remember, he left before Yoda can finish even his training. Like, in my opinion, I think that it makes sense because he didn't understand the concept of failure. He went against the Death Star twice, and he defeated it twice. He defeated Darth Vader. Like, he didn't understand the concept of losing something like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously he has a concept because the Empire killed his family, but I'm saying that in a sense, like, as a Jedi, he never failed as a Jedi before in the past. So it would make sense how he can suddenly kind of go crazy and lose all that. Yeah. I think that it made sense, but having said that, I do agree that they could have done more with him. Yeah. But I do like the struggle that he did go through, and it made sense to me, and it didn't to other people. But obviously, each one has their own opinion, and that's mine.
My one gripe with the sequel trilogy, like, if this happened, I would not be very upset, as I am at it, even though I'm not really upset with it. Like, there were solid films, but not having the original cast, Peter Mayhew, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Leia, Anthony Daniels, R2D2, like, back together, Carrie Fisher too, back together, all in the same room for at least one moment, that all those characters from the original trilogy that inspired so many people and so many filmmakers and so many action figure collections and posters in our rooms and our hearts, that they would miss an opportunity of having that original cast together in a room for at least one scene is so ridiculous that they didn't do that.
I agree with you on that one.
That was such a wasted opportunity because they were all in the movie, but they were never together, which is so stupid.
You know, I 100% agree with you on that one. Like, just think about it, even marketing wise. Like, you gotta think about it. Like, I could just imagine, like, there being, like, a poster of them in the original trilogy and then having, like, another picture, like, next to it of them all as older characters. I feel like that could have been such a good marketing movie then. Exactly. And I understand. Oh, my God, yeah.
Wasted opportunity.
Obviously, they couldn't have done that with Han Solo after the first movie.
Yeah. But
so I understand why they couldn't make it happen, but they did miss a huge opportunity to make something that would be absolutely iconic to every single Star Wars fan.
Yeah, and now we have two of them are dead. Carrie Fisher, rest in peace. Peter Mayhew, rest in peace. I mean, well, technically Kenny Baker, rest in peace, but I don't think he was really doing, like, anything with Star Wars for the new trilogy.
Yeah, well, either way. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I do think that it did its job in the storyline. I think that they did it well. I just think that they definitely missed out on some things that they could have capitalized on. But I do like them more than a majority of Star Wars fans, because for me, you can put Star Wars on a plate and give it to me, and it could be absolutely terrible. But if it says Star Wars on it, I'm gonna find a reason why it's important and why I like it. Even with Rogue One, like, it did its place to tell your story of how the cruiser got Princess Leia got the plans and was able to start the beginning of Episode 4. But I still think it was a terrible movie. But I think it did its job.
Yeah, man.
And as long as it does its job and it makes sense, doesn't matter to me. So I honestly really think that every movie that has been made about Star Wars has done its job in a series. And we're going to have to come up with, like, a list or something one day of favorite Star Wars movies and reasons why. I feel like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. Maybe next time we'll do a list and we'll have lots more content like Marvel related for you, Marvel, DC,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe SpongeBob, Rick and Morty,
Oh yeah, get
anything,
SpongeBob
man.
fans up in here.
Yeah, I know Tony's like a diehard SpongeBob fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. I think
Yeah, I think we've been running quite enough
we've been
for the first
dragging a little
episode.
bit.
So
We said 15 minutes. It's definitely been more.
no,
So-
right now we're about 26.
Oh.
But it's okay.
Oh, yeah, more.
I think this is a good place to end it. And
dude.
yeah, thank you everyone who's listening, whether it be just like me and you, or maybe a couple of our friends, family
Yeah, man.
members, whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you for listening, and please continue to keep listening with us. We would love to have you guys involved with any discussions. Have any ideas, any plans, any
Yeah, man.
questions? We could definitely incorporate them into episodes. Like I said,
Yeah,
my
dude.
goal is to create some sort of community around this. It's
Yeah.
gonna be hard, in my opinion. I think it's not gonna be easy, but you never know. Nobody's ever gotten anything without trying something else first. So
Exactly, dude. I love that. Love that. All right. Well, stay safe. Stay happy. Be
Yes.
merry.
stay
Be
home, stay safe.
geeky. Well, that concludes the first podcast for the Geek Academy.
Yep.
All right, guys.
See you guys next time.
All right. Bye, guys.